We did it, Chris. We made it here. 0 days until the draft. It is finally here.
We are finally here. My guy, Dennis Michael Cox, and myself, Chris Lea. We are ready for the draft. Let's go. LFG, baby.
Let's get this sucker started.
Get dialed in, Panthers fans. Here comes an in-depth look at your team. Exclusive interviews. Locker room insight. Let's huddle up for Panthers Playbook. Here are your hosts, Dennis Cox and Chris Lea.
Welcome back to another episode of Panthers Playbook. That's Chris Lea, Dennis Cox here with you. Folks, the draft is tonight.
Dennis.
Oh, sorry. It's according to Chris.
Dennis
Michael Cox.
Because he's 60% black according to a test.
The test results are what the test results are, Chris. You know what? It's like the combine. The results are the results, okay? You can't change the 40 time. You can't change the arm length. It is what it is. It is what it is. And with the 8th pick tonight, if the Panthers stay there, Chris, it is what it is with whom they draft. Yeah. Real quick, I want everyone to leave their thoughts in the comments on the biggest needs for the Panthers in this upcoming draft. My 4 biggest needs, Chris. I want everyone to leave their 4 biggest needs. My 4: edge rusher, safety, corner, wide receiver. Those are my top 4. I'm curious what your top 4 are.
Edge rusher, safety for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely say wide receiver for sure.
Okay.
And what was your other one?
Corner.
Yes, they do. I would put in tight end before corner, just mainly because I like what we have at tight end with Jadeveon Sanders and also Tommy Tremble. But after that, what else is there, right? And these are 2 guys that we've talked about this before, who spent some time injured this past season. What else is going to be there? I know that we're already thin at corner, but there's 3 guys. There's 3 guys that's there that I already trust. So we can go through the scenarios and all that type of stuff. But I will put tight end, but corner is very close for sure for me.
The reason why I say corner over tight end is because the fact that you're often in sub packages so much in the NFL nowadays that you're running 3 corners at a time. I can run an offense with 1 tight end.
Very true.
I can run an offense with 1 tight end. And after you get past J.C. Horn, Mike Jackson, and Shaw Smith-Wade,
Shamar Bartholomew, it's time for you to step up.
Maybe that's who it is. I don't know. But again, there are major question marks at that point. That's why I throw corner in there. But Chris, when it comes to the draft, this is a conversation I wanted to have with you. Because I know you and I have had these conversations off air, and I think you and I especially talked about it when Chuba Hubbard signed his contract extension. And this conversation stems from a conversation that Tim Donnelly, the host of The Drive here on 99.9 The Fan, me being the producer of his show, we had a conversation with the Carolina Hurricanes currently in the playoffs right now, is that team has an identity. They have players that fit that identity of that team. And going into the second year with Dan Morgan being GM and Dave Canales being the head coach, they're trying to forge an identity, and we're trying to discuss which players on the Carolina Panthers roster really fit the identity of what they're trying to be. And can they draft guys that fit the identity where you can sit there and say, that makes sense. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. Guys that fit the identity, Chuba Hubbard definitely fits, I think, what the identity of this team wants to be. Robert Hunt, 100% buys into that. I think Adam Thielen, 100% buys into that as well. J.C. Horn, these are all Derrick Brown. These are all guys, not just good players, but again, feed the culture and build the culture, Chris, of what they want to be.
I'm going to add one more in there because I agree with everybody that you said, so there's no need for me to rehash. Wait, did you say Derrick Brown?
I did say Derrick Brown.
You did say Derrick
Brown. I'll throw Bryce Young in there too.
Bryce Young for sure. Michael Jackson.
Yeah, Mike Jackson. Yes.
So one of the things I love about this front office and also this coaching staff is that you can see that there is a clear want need to not only develop but find the diamonds in the rough. Right? There are some people who, some people who are, like, for lack of a better word, are attention whores. We're only going to go after The folks who have made the big splashes, who are 5 stars, who came out of the big SEC or Big 10 or maybe ACC, Big 12 schools, the big time guys. But Dan Morgan has said that sometimes the big guys who had the 5 stars next to their name, who went to the big schools, who started 3-4 years in college, aren't always the best ones to draft or have on your team. Sometimes you got to find those diamonds in the rough, those guys who went to the mid-major school, or I guess in this case, FCS school, or a lower level BCS, group of 5 school, FBS. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I jumped back way in time.
Yeah, you did.
And had to really get it out the mud. And Michael Jackson is one of those guys. And I love the fact of how excited he was to stay with the Carolina Panthers. And for him, it was staying with the Carolina Panthers or bust. He said that he would have been supremely disappointed because he had already, after the season was over, had dove into the playbook and had imagined himself as a Carolina Panther for this upcoming season. And he's already saying, hey, you know what? I'm glad J.C. Horn got his extension. It's my job to help him look better and to show that he earned that extension and that he's worth all of that money that he's being paid. He's not jealous that J.C. Horn on the other side is being paid a lot more than him. He's happy that he's getting that money, and he wants to contribute to that. I want that guy on the roster times 53.
Yeah, that mentality.
Times 53, that mentality. Not necessarily the same makeup, but that mentality times 53. If you have that, then I think you're going to start having successful seasons like a Detroit, like a Los Angeles Rams, like a Philadelphia Eagles. These types of teams and programs that were able to bring people together as a real team, real unit, but also develop guys into big time stars for your team. And so that's one guy I would definitely add in that equation for sure.
And I think that's the reason why this 8th pick, there's a lot of talent out there. But the reason why the talent doesn't always necessarily work is because the person didn't work. Not because they weren't talented enough. It's because the person didn't work. They didn't have the work ethic. They didn't have the right people surrounding them. I mean, let's be honest here. Granted, a lot of these guys that are coming out of college now, getting NIL money, they have money in their pocket already. But I get that signing bonus as the 8th pick, whatever it might be, however many more millions that are coming in. I signed that contract. Now I'm free. I'm out of the structure of school and all that. Guess what? People, I was 22 years old, might get a little reckless with how they spend their money and how they spend their free time, because in college things are so structured for them with having to go to class and coaches are so in control. You don't get that at the professional level. Who can actually be a professional? It's not the talent that doesn't work. It's the person that doesn't work. And I think that's something that the Carolina Panthers really have to be cognizant for a team that is trying to rebuild and get back to what they once were. That team that was in a Super Bowl 10 years ago, not that long ago. Not that long ago, they were in a Super Bowl. Can they get back to that? And I think that's why the 8th pick matters so much. And I think this is when you constantly hear Jalen Walker being tied with the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
And you always hear about the leadership and the work ethic and the guy that held everyone accountable on that team. So, yeah, he was a 5-star recruit. Yeah, he's coming from the big SEC school, but he was the lead alpha that was keeping everyone else in check. Those are the kinds of attributes that I want to look and see. Now, we could talk about the measurables as a player and all that kind of stuff, whatever it might be. Is his arms long enough? Is he big enough? Whatever. But if you feel like he's talented enough and he matches that same mindset of work ethic like a Mike Jackson, then you might find yourself a star.
Here's a metric for picking the person that you want at pick number 8, right? He doesn't necessarily have to have a gold jacket, right? He doesn't necessarily have to be all pro, all decade, or Pro Bowl, maybe a couple of Pro Bowls here and there. Who, after their career is over, will the fans still be wearing the jersey of? Right? You go to Bank of America Stadium, you're going to see Cam Newton jerseys. You're going to see Luke Kuechly jerseys.
Tons.
You are going to see Christian McCaffrey jerseys.
You are Greg Olsen jerseys.
You're going to see Muhsin Muhammad jerseys. You're going to see Steve Smith jerseys.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like those are the guys that when you look back, and a lot of those guys may not even make it to the not the NFL Hall of Fame, Pro Football Hall of Fame. Some of those guys didn't make it to Pro Bowls every single year. But they're people who connected with the fans in a certain type of way, and they gave it their all, and they were the identity. Going back to your original question, when you think about what a Carolina Panther is, it's that guy. You can point at it, you can identify what it looks like, and you can show people of the future, this is what I want it to be. And that's why I think all along, if the Panthers don't move off of the number 8 pick, if Jalen Walker is there, it feels like from everything that we've heard, everything that we've read, everything that's kind of been coming out through this whole draft process. There are other guys that I really like. I like the idea of Mason Graham. I like the idea. I like the idea of Tyler Warren. I do. But the guy that it feels like, we could be wrong, that 15 years from now, if his career is over and you look out in Bank of America Stadium and you see jerseys, you might still see a Jalen Walker jersey.
Yeah.
In the stands, and not just one, multiple jerseys. And I think that's one of those metrics you got to use for that. Bryce Young is going to be one of those guys if he continues to go on his trajectory. Greg Olsen is definitely one of those guys. Chuba Hubbard is going to be one of those guys for sure. Already getting people chanting his name. So that's something I think, I'm sure Dan Morgan and crew have already done their due diligence and they have a plan and all that good stuff. But that's what I'm looking at for the number 8 overall pick. Who is that guy that when they're done, you're still going to see their jerseys in Bank of America Stadium every Sunday?
And when we're a fan, you can mention a name and they go, "Oh man, yeah, that guy." Like for example, I'm gonna name a guy, Chris. Thomas Davis.
Yes.
See that kind of reaction. That kind of reaction.
All right, let's test it on the other end.
Okay.
Chimanga Biaka-Batuka.
Yo, Biaka-Batuka. How can you forget that name? How can you forget that name?
But I said yes, and you said, "Oh." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can forget that. Hey,
you're not going to see Biaka-Batuka jerseys unless you have that one fan that just happened to love the name.
Yeah,
honestly, because he didn't have that same impact as the other guys that we named. So can Jalen Walker be Biaka-Batuka? Can he be Thomas Davis?
D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart, like Mike Tolbert. Stephen Davis, Deshaun Foster. See, man. You see that reaction, Chris? That's what I'm talking about.
Man,
that's what I'm
talking about. Fuzzies inside. Ooh.
I want that core of guys to still continue to grow with this team. Now, again, Panthers might trade out of number 8. To be determined. We're going to find out tonight.
What about Whitaker? What about Kelvin Benjamin?
Oh, there's that. Hey, Devin Funches, everybody. Now, real quick, when it actually comes down to the pick tonight, the betting odds, as we're recording this, the betting odds for the number 8th pick in the draft, the person to be picked 8th is Jalen Walker at -105. So minus odds, heavy favorite. The next highest, Mykel Williams at +550. Is the next highest odds. So Jalen Walker -105 and then +550 for Mykel Williams to be the 8th overall pick. By my shared namesake, Mykel.
Mykel, yeah.
Yes.
Mykel Williams instead of LaDennis Mykel Cox. Yeah.
Exactly. We share a name. Something to keep in mind when it comes to this stuff. Again, this is the Las Vegas of the sports books, which know way more, it feels like, than anybody else. It's like, wait a second. What do you know that we don't know? But Jalen Walker is the betting favorite to be the 8th overall pick. But Chris, I'm excited for tonight. Our plan, Chris, roughly around 9 o'clock. I know, Chris, you're going to be on TV. You got some TV duties and stuff to go. But right after the 6th overall pick, which is currently the Vegas Raiders, right after that pick is made, when the Jets go on the clock, again, roughly around 9 o'clock, we'll go live on YouTube. So make sure you're subscribed. We'll go live on YouTube, kind of recap what's already taken place with the draft, anticipate what might be coming up for the Carolina Panthers. We'll see what the Jets do at 7, and the Panthers are on the clock, and we're going to be right here live with you, Chris. I'm looking forward to tonight. I can't wait.
Absolutely. I might be, working with my hair on fire. I might have to be working and talking at the same time.
That's okay.
But hey, we're gonna make this work.
Yes.
As best as we can, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited to kind of watch this with everyone out there and just see what we can end up doing for the Carolina Panthers. It really does feel like we're starting to do this, right? It really does feel like we're starting to do this. We were in New Orleans below sea level. Now we're in the Piedmont area.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We're in Greensboro. We're in Greensboro. You know what I'm saying? And we're slowly doing this. We're going to get to Winston-Salem. Shout outs to Winston-Salem. Shout outs to the Trefo. Maybe we're going to hit Boone. You know what I'm saying? And then we're going to be right here.
We're going to be right here.
Then we're going to be right here.
Right here.
Right here. Just all
right here, Chris.
Right here.
Right here.
Here.
We want you all in alignment with us. We'll see you tonight talking draft.